Do you guys like Huey Lewis in the News? I'm obsessed with Huey Lewis in the News. I hope that didn't give me another copyright strike. The first time, the first video that I ever did and I put on YouTube, I got a copyright strike. Yes, because I'm sure that the meat puppets were very upset that I was playing music. From an album that most people in today's society haven't even heard of. I listen to a lot of music, in case you're wondering. Like, a lot of music from all different genres. My favorite genre of all time is Afrobeat. But obviously love the 80s. Huey Lewis is just so underrated. His hair is underrated. Just his hair alone. But you know, I really like stuff that you wouldn't expect me to like. Probably the most mainstream thing that I listen to is Dave Matthews Band. But you know, that band's just really good. Like, I like stuff that's good. Dave Matthews is really, really good at what he does. And it's very impressive that his band's still together, you know? Most bands can't stay together because they always end up fighting. But, you know, since he smokes weed and drinks all the time, he's pretty chill. And he appreciates what he has, like his band. Like, they have a really amazing dynamic. I mean, you can tell, like, every time they play music together. Like, they genuinely love and support each other, and you really appreciate every single element of the band, you know? You don't know. It's okay. Love Dave Matthews Band. Anyway, love Dave Matthews, love the Meat Puppets, love, like, late 70s, early 80s. That's another really good era of music. Glam rock's pretty good. But, you know, my favorite band of all time is the Talking Heads. Because, you know, there ain't nothing better than dancing and laughing at the same time. That's just really awesome. That's why I said I want to do, like, a dancing comedy show, because I just think that would be really fun. I saw LCD Soundsystem in concert a couple years ago. Had PTSD episode about it since they didn't talk to me. I was very upset. And then I realized that I was a crazy person. Once again, we came to this conclusion. But, yeah, my friend Todd and I, we went all the way down to Atlanta to see them. And Fiona broke down, like, halfway there. Like, right after we crossed over the Tennessee-Georgia state line or wherever it was. I don't know if y'all been over there, but it's pretty cool where, like, you'll be in Georgia, and then you'll be back in Tennessee again, and then you'll be in Georgia. It's so weird. But yeah, like, she ran out of oil. And I just so happened to have, like, a can of oil with me. I was so fucking lucky for that shit. And that night, it was so weird because I was going through, like, my little, like, fuck you, God. I don't believe in you, God. Which, you know, obviously that's not true. I wouldn't still be talking to him, right? But I was going through that where I was just rejecting God. And I remember that night thinking to myself, you know you could pray, right? You know you could pray. And I actually did. And I said, God, just give me that concert. Please just give me that concert. And something told me, you're going to get to the concert right when the opening act is going on. And that's exactly what happened. Now, I was really hoping that I'd meet the band, but someone told me, you know, God's not going to go that far. God can't make people do stuff. You know, like, that's not up to him. But he still got me where I needed to go. I mean, I can't believe that I didn't jump off that fucking balcony that night. Because I really wanted to. I've never wanted to kill myself so badly in my entire life. And I saw Fiona outside, and I was like, dude, that'd be funny if you, like, jumped off the balcony and landed on Fiona. But the dude that I was with, my friend, it's like I couldn't do that shit to him because, like, he literally, like, watched his brother kill himself. And, like, I mean, I couldn't. I can't believe I'm laughing about this shit. But, you know, it's like, I thought about that. I was like, if I were with anybody else, I'm that crazy where I would just kill myself. But because I happen to be with my friend who walked in on his brother shooting himself in the face, you know, I couldn't kill myself. I just couldn't do it, you know? That would have been wrong. But I'm not laughing about his suicide, by the way. I'm just saying that's kind of ironic situation. Like, maybe it's not ironic, like I said. Maybe it's just a weird situation. But I had this, like, real ridiculous, like, 13-year-old obsession, you know, like, kind of like, you know, when you're 13 and you're, like, really into a band. Like, that's kind of, like, the obsession that I had with this band. And I really, really wanted to meet the lead singer. And he never came out. I ended up talking to one of the main guitarists, which was cool. And, no joke, I had stayed up all night making this little project. This stupid-ass art project. And this is embarrassing. It really is. When I think about it, it's embarrassing. But it just kind of shows you the type of person I am. I'm a very genuine person, and when I care about things, I really care about them. And so I stayed up all night, and I took this coffee canister, like a Folgers coffee canister, and I wrapped it in, like, fucking Post-it notes where I wrote jokes, and I filled it with a bunch of edibles that I'd made. And just to travel across state lines from one marijuana unfriendly state to yet another, even more marijuana unfriendly state, you know, that was a huge risk. But I did it. I did it because that's how much I loved LCD Soundsystem, right? Now, I don't know what the fuck they did with that canister. They probably threw all those cookies away. James Murphy, the lead singer, he's kind of a control freak. Kind of. He's like the epitome of a control freak. Yeah, he is. He doesn't seem like a pothead, so he probably told the band to, like, throw the cookies away. But that's what I'm assuming happened, because I don't know. And it just sort of, like, made me come back to God, though. Like, if that hadn't happened, I hadn't had that, like, PTSD episode. I mean, I was literally in and out of PTSD episode that entire day. Like, the whole way there. And then, like, once we got to the concert, I was crying during the entire concert, and then they didn't talk to me, and I was crying in the hotel room, couldn't go to sleep. The next day, we were going to stay in Atlanta. I said, no, fuck that, we're just going back home. Man, it was terrible. I said, why are you traveling? You shouldn't be leaving the house. Why did you think that you could leave the house? You leave the house, go to work, then you come back home. That's what you do. Anyway. Yeah, that was a bad night. That was probably, like, the worst night of my life. And I was thinking, man, there are a lot of people in this world that have had a way worse night than this night. So shut the fuck up. But, yeah, yeah, I just had this real, like, huge crush on that band, you know, and I just really wanted to care. I really wanted them to care about me the way that I cared about them. And I think that that in itself just makes me kind of, you know, delusional. And I knew that going into it, but I still went into it with that. And, you know, my friend Todd was like, look, you put them on his pedestal, and that's why it's said over and over again in scripture to kill your idols, because the only person that should be on that pedestal is Jesus. Because he's the only one that's going to die for you. He's the only one that made a sacrifice. Okay? And he's there to show how, you know, if you love something, especially God, if you love something, you have to sacrifice something. You sacrifice a part yourself. So, I mean, I felt like that night, like, I loved them so much that you know, I had this horrible PTSD episode all because I didn't get to meet them, you know? And we waited around for them for so long, and they never came out. And I was so upset. But, you know, shouldn't have idolized them.